Alright, so we're back in the shop. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's 31 degrees outside, so it's quite balmy. But I am in the mood to film some content. I don't know, it's like a renaissance for the Red Clay Traveler. I'm in the mood, you know what I'm saying? And you need to film while the filming's good. And I'm just so dang excited that I don't know. Maybe it's because it's almost Christmas time or something. There's that little magic in the air. I don't know. I'm in a mood for Willys, which is seldom very far away from me, that mood, but it has been farther away from me this last year than I would like. I was looking at some of my analytics, and I actually surprised myself because it was more than I thought. I thought that I hadn't really published that many videos this year because it doesn't feel like it, because there was long spans of time where I didn't publish anything. But according to YouTube, I have published 26 videos so far this year to December. So I'm kind of surprised by that, honestly, because I really, really thought that it was dramatically less than that. So it should be more than that, okay? But I am pretty glad that that there's that many. I'm hoping to rectify that, and I'm putting in the good faith effort to do so. I just finished editing a video before I came over here, and after I got done with that, I got it uploaded. Even made a thumbnail for it that I hope you fine folks will enjoy thoroughly. But I decided, you know what? Dang it, I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for filming. So, why is the shop unnaturally clean? Well, most of that's because of my brother. Swung by earlier and helped him a little bit because he wanted to move the L head that was sitting about where the camera's standing right now. He wanted to move it and some other stuff out of here, so I helped him move that real quick because he has bought a pretty cool truck. I don't know if he's going to let me film it or not. I got to talk to him about it, but whenever he starts working on it, you might see some content related to it, or at least a video about it. Anyway, it's not a Willys. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, so he wanted this cleaned out so he could pull it in here and work on it. And since we're to a point in Jubal, my 1949 red Willys truck, that we're within striking distance. Since we're into that point, Jubal theoretically should be out of here relatively soon. So once he's out of the way, my brother can have a little bit easier use of the shop, obviously, because I've been taking up this whole bay for quite a while now, over a year, I guess, or a year or so. So that'll be good. The truck he's got is pretty sick. It's pretty sick. It's sick in a whole different way. But regardless, if y'all see that, then you will. If you don't, then this is all meaningless. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today, tonight, this morning, whatever you want to talk about? Well, here's the phantom motor mounts that are not easy to come by. I ordered one set originally. Got one of those. Y'all probably remember that video. If you've been on the channel anytime, I ordered them brand new, and one was perfect, one was crap. So I went on eBay, eFlay, Fleabay, as the kids call it, and I found a distributor on there that sold them. Now this one is a made in America, and this one doesn't say that. So I'm imagining that this one was made probably in Southeast Asia, and this one probably also was made out of components from Southeast Asia, but it says made in USA. So what's funny, a little side note about these, I've had these for a month, or about a month, and the other day I sat them on the bed rail of my brother's truck. And then me and my girlfriend left, and I completely forgot about them. And my brother had went somewhere with my mother, and so these just slid off. One of them fell into the bed of his truck, found one of them, and then the other one we couldn't find. And so I was looking around up and down the road, and my brother was helping me, and we were trying to find it. And we finally found it laying in the just on the edge on the yellow line, which is very good. It didn't hurt him at all, but I don't want to buy a third set, okay? So I actually don't know which one's left and right because they are site specific. I'm not sure how they're site specific because they appear to be identical, but they are supposedly specific to each side. This one's serial number is 2460, and this one's serial number is EM2384, and then it has 528. And this is a West Star, and this one doesn't say what it is. Anyway, they are supposedly site specific. Don't really, like I say, I don't know how, but I was told that. These specific motor mounts are for, I always forget, a 1975 Buick Skylark, which ran the derivative of the Dauntless V6. Of course, the Dauntless V6 is a Buick engine. It was sold to, Kaiser, and then they put it in CJ5s and Jeepster Commandos, and then later on, it was sold back to Buick, and Buick put it in cars all the way up into the 90s, but they changed it to an even fire and made it a 3.8 liter, I think is what they call it, a 3.8 liter even fire. This one's a 3.7 odd fire. Regardless, it's the same block and everything. They made it even fire, changed the flywheel and the crank or something, but the block's more or less the same, and the motor mounts are the same. And you might ask yourself, well, Red Clay Traveler, why in Sam hell would you want a 1975 Buick Skylark motor mount instead of the one for a Dauntless V6 like that came in a CJ5 or a Jeepster Commando? Well, for those of you that haven't seen my other videos on this subject, the reason why is the standard Jeepster Commando motor mount for a Dauntless V6 is not interlocked. So if the rubber fails, and the lighting is horrible, so forgive me, but if the rubber fails, it just separates. And you don't want that. This one is actually interlocked together. So if it was to fail, if the rubber failed, the engine's not just going to free fall, all the way down on that side. That's the only reason I wanted these. I paid more for them, and I had to go through 2 sets to get them, but that's the reason, because if you're out in the middle of the woods and your motor mount fails, you can limp back with it just slopping on the metal. It'd be really difficult to limp back with the motor completely twisted in the engine bay, because you run the risk of binding up the transmission, your drive shafts, all kinds of stuff, hurting the engine. You don't want any of that, so I got these specifically for that thing. Like I say, I'm going to have to look up the serial numbers from when I ordered them to see which one's driver's side and which one's passenger. But that's no big deal. There's that. So a little, show you that I do have them so that you know that I'm not just BSing you. I am, in good faith, going to put an effort, me and my brother, when he's got the time to help me, we're going to do this because it's not a one-man job. I'm not smart enough to do it by myself, and I need my brother's help, and he helps me on this stuff. He's helped me on all kinds of stuff over the years on these Jeeps and stuff, and so I can't do it without his assistance. And it's safer that way. It's safer for myself, for the engine, for Jubal. It's safer for everything when you got 2 eyes looking at stuff. It keeps you from making as many mistakes, and keeps you from dropping an engine and crushing an oil pan into a crank, because nobody wants that. So these are those motor mounts. I might put those on tonight. I don't know. Like I say, I've got to look through when I ordered them and see which one they claimed is which. But what we can do right now is a really simple, mundane task, but it needs to be done. Excuse me. I'm going to take off the shifter tower off this transmission, and we're going to cut out a piece of cardboard to cover it because we want that shifter tower taken off when we put it in the truck so that we don't have to fight that shifter sticking up. We're going to have to bend that shifter and modify it anyway. It's the same shifter tower, more or less, the actual case itself to a T90, but it is different, the forks. And if you actually look on it, if I had enough lighting, I would show you it actually is stamped T90, but it's where they, in a lot of these cases where these transmissions are stamped T90, because it is dimensionally the exact same case. It is the same case, and they modified some of the gears and whatnot inside it. So we're going to have to bend that shifter around, heat it, and bend it around a little bit to get it to about like how it was previously. This shifter is actually longer. It doesn't need this secondary bend in it at all. There's a secondary bend up here that it doesn't need. Sorry for the shoddy camera work. This bend right here, it doesn't need that. I might leave it though, because I kind of like it. I've always liked those crooked shifters, so I might actually leave it because I kind of like it. But this bend right here is a good bit sharper than the T90, so it needs to be taken up a little bit. And then I'm going to see if I can't take the transfer case. That's moving so much better than it was last time I tried to move it. That's bizarre. Maybe my brother lubed it or something, I don't know. I actually don't know the shift pattern on this thing because I've never used one, because it's got a different thing to it. I'm going to lower this down a little bit. It makes me real panicky, and I realize it's probably just me, because I know guys do this all the time, but it just makes me nervous to pick this whole engine up by those, sorry, can't say me, it makes me nervous to pick this whole engine up by this is an actual lift plate. We drilled the holes out so it would fit this intake, but this is made for picking up engines, and God, it makes me nervous to pick this engine up with the transmission and everything by those 4 little bolts. And I realize that that's probably me being paranoid, but I can just see it. I can just see you're slipping it into the Willys truck. You're about halfway over the front cross member, tink, and then it free falls, crams the oil pan into the bottom of the Dauntless crank, and bends the hell out of your front cross member. And I could just see the tears just pouring down pain. I could see it. It makes me nervous. So when we actually go to put it in there, I might throw a ratchet strap around it just something to make me feel better. It's not necessary, more than likely, but just to make me feel better. I don't know, it just makes me nervous. But we're going to see if we can't take these 2 shifter levers off. I don't have any idea what it looks like under that transfer case lever. It's got 4 screws holding it in there, like a retaining plate. So I really don't know what that looks like underneath that. See, no, these wouldn't move for nothing the other day. And now they're both moving. I did monkey with it. I don't know, but they're moving nice now. I don't know. I'll have to look up the shift pattern for it because I don't know what it is. But it is moving pretty good now. Anyway, we want to take these off. That's a 1/2 inch that's holding that, which is already on this, and we need a big straight edge so that we can take apart that transfer case lever and probably screw it up and never be able to put it back together. It's important to be optimistic while you're working on stuff. I have found that over my years of filming and doing my stuff and working on trucks and struggling, I don't know yet that I've screwed up something so bad that I couldn't replace it altogether or carry on with it. So I try to always maintain that. The absolute key to working on anything. I don't care if it's your Altima, if it's your Gran Torino, I don't care what it is. If you're working on something, I learned this from my brother. If you're working on something and it's not going quite right, say it's fighting you just a little bit too hard. I'm being fidgety with my camera again. Y'all are used to that. It's not going quite right. Don't force it. Take a step back. Just take a little step back from it. Reassess the situation. And then come back. Because if you go too far, depending on the situation, if you go too far, you can really screw yourself, and you don't want to do that. So, just always remain calm, especially when you're working on old stuff like this. Because if I tear something up severely here, I can't just go buy another one, okay? I'm not working on a 90s model Chevrolet where you can get everything for it pretty much anywhere. This is hard crap to find, all right? So, we want to be firm but gentle. So, just a little bit of stuff. It took me a long time to learn it. I haven't mastered it, but it is good advice. I know there's going to be a lot of bolts that are missing, and I should have done a better job of keeping up with them. But as y'all know, if you've ever worked on anything, when you take something apart, you never think to yourself, it'll be like a year and a half before I get back to doing this. You always think the best of yourself, and you're going to be in here tearing it up in 5 minutes, and you'll have it all done in an hour. It never works like that. So there's some bolts probably missing. I haven't missed anything extremely important yet. I know there's some fender bolts and stuff like that that are going to be missing. But honestly, those are all generic bolts, nothing specialty. So, as of right now, there doesn't appear to be anything critical missing. So that's good, is what I'm getting at. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop this off, because I didn't even bother to put it on correct last time. You can see there's a little bit of funky, there's this little bit of rust in here. And I can clean this up later. It's nothing critical. It still moves freely, moves fine. But it's just really starting to form. And I would show you, but it's not really worth showing you. There's some in the case in here. Like I say, just surface level stuff. The only stuff that really bothered me was what was on that bearing, and I talk about that in the video that I edited tonight. It's nothing. It's not really the end of the world. I just don't like seeing it, but it could have been there since before I was born. So what we're going to do is now is take a piece of cardboard, and we're going to lay it over this and punch these holes out so that we can screw down a piece of cardboard right here to keep dirt and crap out of there mainly. And there's not enough oil in here to really matter about when we put it in the Jeep. I do have to remember to drain the oil out of the Dauntless here, because I put oil in it, and it was just some oil I had laying around, and that was only to prime my oil pump. I still haven't replaced the spring in the oil pump, because when I primed it, it was showing like really good oil pressure. I have the new spring. I have to go through the box and figure out which one it's supposed to be, and I can do that once it's in the engine bay if I find that I'm not happy with the oil pressure, because I did everything else meticulously to the best of my abilities to get it right. So I don't, from just priming it with a screwdriver on the end of a drill, we were hitting really good PSI oil pressure. And that drill, I wasn't even able to hold it on there. It was nowhere near, it wasn't even really at idling RPM, and it was already at good oil pressure. So I think we're fine on that. But what I'm saying is I do have the spring. I'm not just going to throw it away. And if I feel that I need to, I can change it once it's in the engine bay. It's not really a big deal. We're going to cut this piece of cardboard off of here with this dull Swiss Army knife. And all we're going to do is pop it on there like that. That's all we're going to do. We're just going to cut it. We can even do it double thickness if we want. Which probably wouldn't hurt anything. Which I might do. Hoping we get a chance to work on this tonight or tomorrow night. It'll be pretty nifty. So there's one made, and we'll take this one, and we'll use this piece as our template to cut this other one to size. I know this is probably boring, but like I've said in other videos, if you're going to work on old stuff, maybe you don't work on old stuff or whatever, maybe you want to, maybe you always do, this is all what it's really like. A lot of people that I know in my personal life get the idea that from watching TV shows and stuff that like you just go out there and you have a magical supply of parts and everything on the vehicle that you bought out of a field works amazing and all that kind of stuff. And it's not reality, and anybody that works on stuff knows that. I'm saying this is the reality of what it's like to work on Jeeps. You're going to be working on stuff all the time, and there's different nuanced ways of doing it and whatnot. But the key, like I say, is to stay slow. So I know this is probably boring to a lot of you, and I realize that. But what I'm saying is it's a lot better example of reality than I think you get on a lot of TV or even some YouTube channels. So we're not bound by time here. I can make a 7-hour video or a 30-minute video or a 10-minute video. I don't have to worry about fitting into a time slot or anything like that. So I can make it a lot closer to reality for what the average person would run into working on stuff. So if you actually press down on it, it leaves you a nice oily template of where the bolt holes are. So we're just going to take this punch it through there, knock out our holes. When I put this back on, I'll put some Permatex. There is a gasket for this, for the shifter tower, but I've never used one. I always just put some Permatex on it, seal it up, and that's always been pretty good. Those seem to be lined up relatively good. We'll probably just do the one piece of cardboard, honestly. I don't think we need two. And these bolts are pretty short and stumpy, so I don't know that we could get two on it. I'm really, really excited about this. I hope y'all are too. I know some of y'all are, because you tell me in the comments that you're excited about it, and that makes me excited about it. So I hope y'all are looking forward to this, because I'm really looking forward to driving Jubal a lot. And I'm talking a lot. I'm talking like I put my newer truck, I just put it on blocks and let it sit in the driveway, because I want to drive Jubal all the time. Maybe even film us a nice intro, a little short intro for the channel with all the places we drive Jubal around. Or maybe I do one of those channels where every video starts with an uncomfortably long intro with excessive loud music that's usually some kind of like off-brand rock variety. And then I do that, because that seems to be very popular. I could always do that. Some copyright-free hard rock music. Jubal pulling up, and I'm talking the intro is like 7 minutes long. Just you're sitting there, just hoping the intro ends. It's not as prevalent on YouTube as it once was, but I'm sure some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Alright, we're going to take our tool here, we're going to bump it down to auto, which is where it stops just after it gets resistance. Always do the star pattern when you're tightening down a cardboard cover on your transmission shifter tower. Alright, you want to do a star pattern because you don't want to warp the cardboard. Alright. Let's slide over here. When I move the L head, by the way, let's lower you down. Let's bring it. Come on in closer. Come on. When I moved the L head, me and my brother moved it. I filled it to the brim with oil. Okay, it wasn't good oil, but I poured a bunch of oil in it and I rotated it through, because the other building we put it in is also relatively damp. Okay, and I can't get you how I want you. There we go. It was relatively damp as well. So I filled it full of oil. We moved the F head, which is also a good engine, up to the other building, and I filled it with oil as well. And I rotated it. And before I took the L head up there, I took the shifter tower off my T90 and I poured a bunch of sticky Earl in there to coat those gears. And they look phenomenal, by the way. That transmission is in fantastic shape. It needs a clutch. But that L head, you will see it again. I don't know when, but you will see it again. And it will be being put in hopefully a CJ2A, a 3A, or an M38. And that F head, I have every intention of keeping it until it ends up in a truck, a wagon, or hopefully a CJ3B. So there is plans for those two engines. I've even considered building out the frame, because I have a really nice CJ3B frame just behind the shop. It's got 2 axles on it. I've got the steering box leaned up over here. I've got the engine, transmission, transfer case. I've got everything I realistically need to put it back together. I just don't have a body. So I've often considered going ahead and building it out, getting it where you could like drive the frame around, and then just waiting around until I found a body. So that's also something that we might do, because a CJ3B frame or CJ2A frame, unfortunately, in this modern world, is not really worth a whole lot, because most people are taking them off of things, not using original frames. Alright, so we're going to see if we can't take this shifter tower off. I don't know if y'all can see super good, but I'm hoping that you can. There's some leaves and whatnot right here. Let's see. It's kind of in a, we'll put it kind of in a neutral position. Kind of upright like that, so that hopefully we can put it back on correctly. And hopefully these screws right here aren't tighter than, no, they're not tight at all. So that's kind of cool. They're straight edges. So we're going to take those and put them up here on the back of the bell housing. Fortunately, transfer cases, transmissions stay so greasy and whatnot that most of the time bolts on them aren't stove up real bad because they're constantly coated in oil, which is kind of a benefit. That's why a lot of Jeep trucks and CJ2As and stuff, they usually rot on the ends of the frame. They don't really rot in the center of them because there's usually oil leaking so aggressively that that it stays coated in oil so much that it doesn't rust. It's kind of an added benefit. Alright, that's the last one of those out. Now we're gonna, I don't know, oh, alright. Ew. That looks disgusting. I think it's mud. I think that's mud in there. There's this foul stuff on it right there, and ew. It's old grease, I suppose. I don't know. It looks exactly like Georgia red clay. It's kind of disheartening. We're gonna put this over here. So now we got both of these off. We need to clean this out if we can. Okay, I'm scooping out from inside the transfer case. Yeah, it's old. It's real old grease. So I thought it was actually dirt to start with, but it's not. There's not really a good way for dirt to get in there. It's just old grease in there. So that's actually not too bad. What else? What is that? Some kind of rod. We'll pump a little bit of new grease in there before we put this back on. But other than that, I don't see nothing too concerning. It's got grease in it, so that's all that we care about, right? I'll wipe that on the box. I'm going to stab that screwdriver in there. We don't really need to worry about covering this. We don't need to worry about covering that hole. Because it's not really, nothing's going to fall in there and destroy anything. We just don't want to bump these arms around and move it around because we want to be able to put that right back in the way it goes. I don't think it matters because it's just a ball that moves in there, but I don't want to risk it. So this part is ready so that this can slip in there easier. This is far easier to take off, by the way. This is far easier to take off than the twin sticks on a Dana 18 because that's kind of involved. So this just pops right off, which is very nice. This is the backup light indicator that screws in right here. So we'll put that over here in this box too because I don't need it, but I'll just keep it in there to plug that hole with, honestly. All right, now hopefully we'll be getting it loosely positioned in there, and yeah, I feel good. I feel really good. Just that little bit of work like that, it just makes a big difference because it's just that much closer in the right direction. It's that much closer to y'all seeing so many videos of me running around on this truck right here. It's so much closer. that it's really hard to. Part of me worries if I'll even be able to physically take it when it happens. Part of me wonders if I'll ever be able to keep up with all of my sockets, because I'm missing 3 right now. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever be able to achieve that. But yeah, it's maybe one day, you know. I don't know. I don't know where those are at. They're probably laying around somewhere. Or they're in that tool bag, which is possible. But anyway, I'm the Red Clay Traveler. It's cold. I'm not tired, but I am going to go home. And we're a little bit closer to being done with Jubal. Just a little bit closer than we were yesterday. And that's all a man can hope for, honestly. But I am the Red Clay Traveler. I love you deeply. And remember, hit that subscribe button. This is a longer video, but not a whole lot in it. But I will try to edit it down as much as I can. But I love you all. I love you deeply. Hit that subscribe button. And remember, Willys for life. Dauntless for life. Dauntless for life. And maybe one day soon, Jubal. Because I feel like it's just right there on the cusp. We're right there at the C, Brian Poole, Matt J, John Doe, County Marshal. All right? We're right there. The sea is right there. Okay? I can see some seagulls, baby. I can see them. I can smell the salty air. We're right there. And when we get there and the Dauntless is in Jubal, we will weep. All right? Because there's so much left to conquer. All right? There's so much left to conquer. I'm the Red Clay Traveler. I love you all. Hit that subscribe button for me. Yeah, Willys. Yeah, get it. Yeah.